alright.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yo guys, what is up? Max on a Borderlands 3 video, and today we're going over Transcended Amara, my boss killing Amara build. Now, I wanted to update this build. Transcended Amara is a build I made at level 53 for a boss killing only Amara build using the driver. There is a new trick in Purple Tree that allows us to push our damage further than we've ever been able to do on a gun damage Amara build, and I've seen a lot of comments recently about how gun damage Amara can't do bossing, and I agreed. I didn't think that this was possible. I didn't think we would be able to do this much damage, one-shot the healthiest enemy in the entire game. But with this new trick and some new gear that's been added into the game, Amara can boss as well as any of the other characters with guns, so I wanted to share that with you guys. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get right into it. So let's talk about how we're dealing this much damage on Amara. Now, we're pulling out all the stops, old tricks and new, and I want to break down some of the new tricks and the old ones so that you guys can replicate this for yourself. Now, one of the new tricks is burn both ends. I didn't know that we could do this on Amara. Now, this skill reads, whenever Amara is dealt damage by an enemy, she gains increased damage for a short time. This effect stacks. Now, when this skill tree first came out, I had tested this and determined that you could not apply burn both ends to yourself because I was shooting the sellout at the ground and checking my damage, and I was not getting any more damage, and I was wrong about that. I was correct in that the sellout doesn't work, but I was wrong that you can't apply this skill or self-proc this skill with Amara. The way that you can self-proc this skill with Amara is not with driver, but with ASCs on your shield. When you proc driver, you get more stacks of mindfulness. You do like more damage to yourself with ASCs. And if you don't have ASCs on your shield and grenade, this doesn't work. But if you do have ASCs on your shield and grenade, when you proc the driver dot on yourself, it doesn't show up at the HUD, but you will get full stacks of burn both ends. And burn both ends is going to give us 75% more elemental damage for everything we do on Amara. I know it says damage. This in the damage formula works as elemental damage the same way that like Tempest works, so tons more of elemental damage just from throwing out our cast. Now, the other trick that we're using is obviously the driver. We need to use driver in order to proc this skill on ourselves, giving us 75% more damage, but we're also taking advantage of driver's biggest benefit, which is gun damage. Driver is the best for gun damage on Amara, and this thing is really hard to get max movement speed. It is very hard to get max movement speed on the driver and shoot and do a ton of damage, which means that you can't fully take advantage of this thing. At max movement speed, 500% increased movement speed, you do 640% more gun damage. And we're pairing this with the toboggan. With 6 out of 3 mindfulness stacks and the toboggan slide speed increase, we are getting maximum movement speed for driver scaling, meaning that out of us, while we're sliding, let me get these mindfulness stacks to show you guys how fast we really are. So we've got 25 mindfulness stacks, we've got our toboggan, and when I slide here, if I shoot at the beginning of my slide, I will have that 500% movement speed, meaning that now we've got 75% more elemental damage and 640% more gun damage for this shot. In addition to that, we are adding an amp damage to our damage formula. Amara can never take advantage of amp damage because the driver, when you're using an amp shield, it takes away the amp because the shield depletes. You can only use amp shields when your shield is full, and so one of the biggest downsides of Amara is that you can't use amp damage with driver because you'll never have a full shield. The toboggan allows us to add not only the full damage from gun damage for Amara, but we're also getting this amp in our damage formula. On top of that, there's 2 shields that we could use, which is the Infernal Wish, which is going to give us 2 shots, and we're not using 150-90 or 390. 390 was nerfed, it was now 150-90. There is no reason to use that. We're using 250 phase cast. Now, the reason we're not using phase slam versus phase cast here is because we need to be applying laid bear. Laid bear is a huge damage increase, V2 damage increase for us, and sometimes it can be a little tricky to apply it with phase slam. It's a little bit less gun damage, but 250 phase cast is 250% weapon damage with another 640% weapon damage. We're getting ridiculous gun damage from this setup. So that little 50%, don't worry about it. We do not need it. The other thing that you can use with this setup that actually isn't as good as the Infernal Wish for a lot of scenarios, for Seer, for Traunt, you are going to want like a Revolter. But the other thing that we can use is a Revolter with ASC, or with an ASE on it. Now, the reason we can do this is with a level 1 Revolter and the driver, we're going to get that Revolter proc because we're depleting it with our dodge. So we're getting the damage from the Revolter plus the addition of the damage of an ASE. Genuinely, the Infernal Wish is better in most scenarios, so you don't need to worry about that. For all of the highest damage kill shots, basically using the Infernal Wish, but just wanted to share that with you guys, that you can use either the Infernal Wish or the Revolter with a level 1. It doesn't need to be level 1, but if you want to self-dot it or self-proc it really easily, level 1 works really well with that. But yeah, that's just the beginning of our gun damage. This is allowing us to hit ridiculous amount of damage, sliding at full movement speed, 640 gun damage, amping our damage with the amp damage formula, getting new elemental damage plus more of our skill tree. Now, I do want to talk about some guns here, and then we'll break down the full skill tree. For guns, you can use anything. Now, the kick charger is absolutely the best in slot. The kick charger's base weapon damage is multiplied by 4 when you slide with it, and so you're going to full charge the kick charger, meaning that you do not need to hold it down. If you just tap it like this, you're only dealing base card damage. If you slide and then shoot it, the kick charger, you're dealing its full damage, getting you ×4 damage on that, which is crazy, because that's already like pretty much a million damage, which is stupid. Plus all this damage increases allows us to hit for over 10 billion damage. But other things that you can use the Bird of Prey, the Unseen Threat. You can one-shot most enemies with an Unkempt Herald. Anything you want, as long as you shoot it while you're sliding with 250 phase cast, you can one-shot most things with Queen's Call, King's Call, Plague Bear, whatever you want. But the kick charger is simply the best in slot. Now, let's talk about this skill tree. Now, real quick to interject on the video, because I know the biggest concern / complaint about this build is I can't do this because I don't have perfect gear. So I wanted to showcase what this build can do without perfect gear. This is a spiritual driver with just weapon damage. It's got cooldown rate, reload speed. None of those things are going to help me. And the weapon damage is 35% when I'm already getting over 800% weapon damage. So really won't do anything for me there. And then a level 65 toboggan with move speed and health regen. The move speed isn't going to help me because I'm already capping out spiritual driver movement speed. But I just wanted to show you guys, this is currently a modded Grave Ward. I have a mod on that's going to give Grave Ward 30 billion health applied right now. Seer is 10.6 billion health. So this is basically 3 Seers in a single shot. I just wanted to show you guys that, like, you do not need perfect gear. We are overkilling. With this build, I have reached over 50 billion damage. This is a 30 billion health Grave Ward, but over 50 billion. It's all about shooting while you're sliding with the kick charger toboggan and this skill tree. By the way, I have found the Revolters a little bit better than the Wish, but 30 billion health, easy peasy. No problems. I promise you guys, if you're using this setup, you do not need perfect gear. Just get the interactions down and the speed. Make sure you're double casting, you're sliding, you're shooting, and you will be able to one-shot all the bosses in the game. Once again, we are overkilling. We can kill 5 Seers in one shot with this setup. So do not worry about having the most ideal gear. Some real essentials is just having like 250 phase cast, the driver, and the toboggan. And if you can get 6 out of 3 mindfulness on it, that's really the biggest thing that you're needing, is 6 out of 3 mindfulness. So for this skill tree, the biggest things to note is Transcend. This is Transcended Amara, and when I first made this build, this was one of our biggest damage tricks, was getting 54% crit damage. Crit damage is a very strong multiplier that we really can't take advantage of that much on Amara besides this skill. We've got no other crit increases, so this is huge for us. And when we double cast our phase cast, which we need to do with Avatar, we're going to be getting that 54% crit damage. We do not have short fuse. We do not have anything too crazy to use, but when you can crit with this, and trust me, you're going to want to crit. That is how you get the one-shots. Transcend is going to help us do crazy damage. The rest of it, we're basically just trying to get Avatar. We want Wrath for a little bit more gun damage. We want Tempest for elemental damage. We want Anima so that our mindfulness stacks are on us for longer, and our stacks of Burn Both Ends are on us for longer. The rest of this tree is very pointless. We do need Heavy Rain for the splash damage, but like the rest of this stuff, like I'm not freezing, you know, things. I'm not healing from melee damage. We're just trying to get down to Burn Both Ends. And then for Green Tree, we're using Clarity to offset the dot damage that we're dealing to ourselves, Arms Deal for more splash damage, and Mindfulness for that full movement speed. All in all, this build allows us to like actually achieve a very strong damage formula on Amara, because we're spreading out our damage increases between all of the splash increases that if you can get on your artifact, gun damage increases, elemental damage increases from Burn Both Ends and Tempest, crit damage increases. This is the ultimate gun damage one-shotting Amara setup. I haven't seen anything better. I really didn't think this was possible. We're gonna do a little kill here and then I'll head out for the video, but very, very freaking cool. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It is it's very cool to be able to do gun damage on Amara, and you can use this setup with, like, you know, not a rocket launcher if you wanted to. If you just wanted to, like, try to use like an SMG, just make sure that you're doing it while you're sliding. If you're going to be shooting something, slide and then shoot, and you'll be able to one-tap most things. It's pretty ridiculous. The save will be in the Discord. I will catch you guys in the next one, and take care. Peace.